your class is no longer meeting face-to-face, and as a result, one of the things that's going to be missing for those students is that interaction with each other. And so a good way to do that is to add a discussion. And that's what we're going to do in this module to get your students still talking to each other. Okay, we are now in Module 4, and we want to add a discussion. There are a lot of reasons to add a discussion, especially for a class that is used to meeting face-to-face. You want to keep that discussion going, and you want to allow the students to interact with each other. It's also a good practice for any course to have discussions in them, and so Blackboard has a good tool for adding this kind of discourse. So we're going to scroll down, and if you recall from our last content module chapter, we added this placeholder of module discussion. Now we're going to eventually delete this. In the meantime, we're going to add the actual discussion. And so to do that, let's go to the top. And now we're going to use some of these other tools up here. In particular, we're going to use tools, and we're going to add a discussion board. So let's click on that. And as I scroll down, I can see that I can create a new forum. So don't worry about the linked discussion board page here. Just create new forum. And I'm going to call this, since we're in Module 4, I'm going to call this the Module 4 discussion. Okay, and this is where I can add description, basically instructions and description of the discussion, what the student is expected to do. Now I've typed this out in Microsoft Word, and so my discussion question for Module 4 is going to be, why do we need to protect biodiversity? I've given the students instruction here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to Control C to copy the highlighted text. I'm going to then go to my description, and I'm going to paste. Now it kind of messes with the format a little bit here, and so one of the things I can do is I can highlight all of this, and I'm going to remove the formatting because I want to have a better format for this. Now this is a good time to mention the abilities or ADA compliance here, being able to allow students who have disabilities with regards to learning material access to material that maybe we don't think of oftentimes. So for instance, in the case of Word documents and instructions, it is valuable to assign headings and subheadings to various places, because things like readers can identify something as a heading. So I'm going to use this as a heading, and I'm going to use instructions as a subheading, and it will just help these readers identify these particular sections. Okay, and so I'm going to also create a numbered list with this information down here. Now I'm going to have to enter this information in a couple of different places. Let me go ahead and eliminate the spaces here. And I'm going to need this information in another place. So as I'm thinking ahead, I'm going to, as you know, I like to copy stuff from the HTML code just because it makes it easier for me down the road. You can copy it from here as well. But I've got the instructions here, and the form is available. Now as I scroll down, I can add my options. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the part where I'm going to paste this in just a moment. This forum is worth 5 points, so I want to make sure that I add this as a 5-point forum. And I am going to add a due date. Now I know for this Module 4, the due date is going to be April 5th. And I'm going to have it at the end of the day. You can change the time for this, but I always have mine at the end of the day. You can add a rubric if you want to give the students direction as far as how you're going to grade this. Of course, in my instructions, I tell them they have to post a reply or post a thread, and then they have to reply to 2 other posts. Alright, so I'm going to leave everything else as a default, and I'm going to hit submit. It's going to take me to a second page, or we're going to create this discussion now. So we've created the discussion. We're going to now add it to our module page. So I do not need to create a new forum. Instead, we're going to use this one we just made. And click on Next. And then we're going to come up here and we can see that this link is now going to be created. And what's happening is that there's two different description boxes. The first description box we typed in, or we added our discussion to, is what's going to show up on the module page. And this is what's going to show up on the discussion board. And so I'm going to paste what I copied earlier. That way I didn't have to reformat everything. And it's going to show up in both places. And so it's available. And I am happy with that. So I'm going to hit Submit. If I go down to the bottom of the page, it always adds new things to the very bottom of the page. There's my module for discussion. I'm going to move it up. And I can do so by clicking and dragging this up. And you can see now everything's below that. I'm also going to delete this placeholder. And so now I have a discussion. The placeholder is gone. I've got the discussion in place of that. Now, if I needed to modify this, if I needed to change the point value or change something else about it, I can't really do that from here. Sorry, this page jumps around whenever I select the drop-down menu. So let's say I wanted to edit this. If I tried to edit it here, you'll see that I can edit the topic or the link name. I can edit the text. But as I go down, I don't have options to edit the point values. Right? We're going to do that in another location. So I'm going to cancel. And this is why we actually put the discussion link in the menu. If you click on it, this will list all of your discussions. So it's kind of a one-stop place. As you add new discussions, it'll add them here. I can now edit here. So I'm going to edit this discussion from here. And as I scroll down, I now have the options to change the point value, to change the due date, things like that. So this is where, if I needed to edit the discussion again later, this is where I would do that. So I'm going to hit cancel, because I'm happy with the way that looks right now. Okay, let's show you what this looks like from the student perspective. So let's go into the student preview. It's going to take us to the front. We're going to go down to course content. You'll notice that the other three modules are absent because we made those unavailable. We're going to go into module 4. We have our little learning guide. As we scroll down, we see the folders for materials, and then there is our discussion. When they're ready to do this discussion, they would click on the underlined link. And it's going to take them to this page where they can create a new thread. So let's create a new thread. They have the instructions up top. If they go down, they're going to add a thread. They'll add a subject. And then they'll add their actual text here. They'll scroll down. They can add a file. Let's say that they created something, a PDF, a PowerPoint, whatever it is, depending upon your instructions. They can browse a computer and attach it here. And then when they're done, and they don't have to do it all at once. They can save the draft and come back to it. But when they're done, they can hit submit. And you'll see now in the discussion, you can see that somebody has posted something, and so the students are also instructed to go and look at other students' threads and respond to at least 2 of them. So it's as simple as that. The students can make a discussion, and then they can go look at other discussions and respond to those. So we're going to hit OK. And again, this is what the student is seeing. And then they can also go look at their grades, for instance, and see that they have actually submitted a discussion. The yellow exclamation point means that it's waiting to be graded. And then as the instructor, I would see that in my needs grading section, and then I would assign a point value to that. So the students know that they've done it, they've turned it in whenever they see this yellow icon like this. All right, let's exit the preview. And next time, we're going to add more to this. We're going to go to course content. We're going to look in module 4, and now we're going to start adding an assignment. So the next thing we'll do is add an assignment and learn how that works. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you in the next chapter.